Hi, my name is Jennifer Cabani, and I'm editor of The College Fix. We're a daily news website focused on higher education, and I'm here today with Riley Gaines, a female warrior who is defending the rights of women across this great nation. Welcome, Riley.
Oh my gosh, well, thank you so much for having me.
Today, you join us as a spokeswoman for the Independent Women's Forum. And I know that's a group that advances women's rights and sort of their take on the campus culture and the hot button issues of this nation today. And so you make a perfect spokeswoman for them.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for them, for the resources they've provided me to continue talking about this. So
wonderful. Yes. And it's an important topic and it's not going away at all. And
no.
so I want to dive right in because I have a really pressing question for you that I really always wanted to ask you. And that is this. So female college athletes, and we're talking like the cream of the crop, Division I. I mean, they've worked their butts off for decades to get where they're at. I mean, pain, work, discipline, sacrifice. I cannot imagine the blood, sweat, and tears. Why are you one of the only collegiate athletes speaking out? I mean, former, I know you graduated, but why aren't there 10 Riley Gaines, 20 Riley Gaines, 100 Riley Gaines, 1,000 Riley Gaines? These women are athletes. They bust their, dare I say it, balls. Like, where are they?
Well, I can tell you, it might feel as if I've been this lone face and this lone voice, but I promise you, I do speak for so many. At that NCAA championships, where we were forced to compete against Leah Thomas, who was formerly Will Thomas, who swam 3 years on the men's team at University of Pennsylvania before deciding to switch to the women's team and, of course, win a national title. You know the story. I saw the tears from these girls who were displaced and missed out on being named an All-American by one place. I saw the extreme discomfort in the locker room from every girl in there who was forced to undress while a naked male was simultaneously in the room with male eyes gazing. I felt that. I saw it. And so I know I speak for more than just myself based off the conversations I've had as well. And it's not just this one incident. There's so many incidents just like mine, making mine not unique by any means across the country that's happening. But you're right, it raises the question, where are the other women? Why aren't other people, parents, coaches, where are these people? Why aren't they saying anything? And I can tell you about my experience in regards to the silencing and the submission of your voice, what these institutions and these universities, how they wanted you to fear speaking up. Leah Thomas's teammates in particular, what they went through every single day for the whole season, which is essentially a full year in regards to the silencing. They were forced to go to mandatory LGBTQ education meetings to learn about how just by being cisgender, they were oppressing Leah Thomas. When they sent an email to their administration expressing their discomfort in the locker room, their administration responded back with, if you feel uncomfortable seeing male genitalia, here are some counseling resources that you need to seek. When they were told, or when they wanted to take a stance, their school told them, no, you cannot take a stance because your school has already taken your stance for you. They were told you will lose your scholarship, you will lose playing time, you won't get into grad school, you'll lose all your friends. They were told if they happened to speak up and any harm or backlash whatsoever were to come towards Leah Thomas's way, then they were solely responsible. And you don't want to be responsible for someone else's harm, do you? And of course not. Who would? So these girls, really, they were emotionally blackmailed, and that's continuing to happen across the country. I've received screenshots of what the NCAA has sent to coaches and athletic directors, and just how badly they want these people to fear for their job, for their well-being if they were to speak out. And so people aren't. Very similar situation again across the country. Mine is not unique by any means. I receive messages from parents, from female athletes of all ages, all of the time, who tell me they're just too scared to take a stance.
And I appreciate that. I really do. I guess I just want to say before I move on to my next question is, I mean, these women are warriors. I know because I play a sport, and I tell you what, sometimes I face some really tough women. I say, wow, they're gritting their teeth, and they're tough and they're warriors. So I wish I just saw more. I know they're emotionally blackmailed, but I want more Riley Gaineses out there. You shouldn't have to carry the whole mantle I think there should be dozens, hundreds, thousands, maybe of women just standing up and you shouldn't have to carry this alone. And they're tough enough to do it. I mean, I'm not trying to say that the pressure isn't great, and I know it is, but I mean, you face these women, you competed against these women. They're not little, silky wallflowers. So I wish they could take all that fight that they gave 2 decades to get to where they are and put it on this issue.
Absolutely.
Okay. But then the other thing I thought is like, I'm older. You just graduated college relatively recently. Maybe do they actually think that it's fair that a male body with testosterone and a bigger heart and bigger lungs and bigger bone density, et cetera, compete against them? I mean, have they been brainwashed into thinking that's actually fair? What I'm asking you is, what percentage of women actually believe it's fair for a biological male to compete against a biological female, and what percent are just staying silent?
I would say, again, especially at that level we were competing at, which is the highest level, that national championships where Leah won the national title, beating every female in the country, is the fastest meet in the world for women. So it's the highest level you can compete at. Those girls, again, like you said, who dedicated their entire lives, no one thought that was fair. No one did. What I'm finding, and of course, this is what I'm finding, the people who are calling this fair, or the people who don't seem to have a problem with it, aren't athletes. They're the ones who don't compete. They're the ones who shouldn't have as much of a say as they do and as they are. It's what we're seeing in both state and federal legislature. These Democrats who are opposing these fairness in women's sports bills, they don't play sports. They don't understand, or what they're saying is that it's a non-issue. It's not really happening, so why would we care? Or something as disingenuous as, oh my gosh, it's just high school, middle school girls sports. It doesn't really matter. It's about teamwork. It's about camaraderie. It's about humanity. But that's not what sports is about. It's just not. Sports has never once asked me for how I feel. It's never once cared about my feelings. When I had to jump in a cold pool at 5 a.m. every single morning in college, my coach never once looked at me and said, okay, are you feeling okay today? Can you do this today? That's not what this is. It's about winning. It always has been about winning. That's why the women's sporting category was created, to give us a chance to showcase our unique physical ceilings, the uniqueness of being a woman, to recognize, celebrate, honor us as women. And so to allow men back into this space, we know it's unfair. Anyone with a brain knows it's unfair. So either they're lying to themselves, which is what I think a lot of this is virtue signaling. Or maybe they actually are that incompetent and they think hormone suppressants can play a role to where male advantage is mitigated. But we know male advantage, regardless of how much HRT, how long you're using this hormone replacement therapy, we know that male advantage will never be replaced. And again, coming from my experience at that national championships, we all knew it was unfair.
Yeah. Well put. Well put. And you know what I think is unfair also to you is that I feel like people have misrepresented your stance on this issue. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you haven't said that transgender athletes should not be able to compete at all. Tell our audience what you have said about how to resolve this issue that makes it fair for everybody.
Of course, I don't think anyone should be banned. And that's you're right, that's a very common misconception. Again, especially at the state and federal level where I've been testifying in these states, these Democrat representatives come out and say this is an anti-trans bill that bans trans athletes from competing. No athlete should be banned of competition, regardless of your race, your sexual orientation, your gender identity, what sports you play. No one should be banned for competition. And I wholeheartedly stand by that. My solution, of course, is you compete where it's fair and where it's safe, which seems logical, which is with your biological sex. Men compete with men, males compete with males, because we know you cannot change your sex. You cannot change your body down at the chromosomal level. So if you have a Y chromosome, you compete with people who have Y chromosomes. If you don't, you compete with people who don't have Y chromosomes. It's really that simple. And it's really, it doesn't come from a place of hatred. It comes from a place where everyone should be able to play where it's fair and where it's safe.
Okay, excellent. Do you believe in having like a transgender category?
I think in an ideal world, this would be a perfect solution. It would allow everyone to be able to express themselves for who they are while also competing where is fair and where is safe. That being
But yeah.
said, I don't know how realistic it really is. One, resources, financial investment, garnering enough people to play on these leagues, garnering support for these leagues. Would people watch these leagues? I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions, and so in an ideal world, sure, but in reality, I don't foresee this being a feasible option.
Okay. And my final question for you today is what's next for you? What does your next year look like? And what can everybody do to help?
Absolutely. I think what's next for me, I actually have a pretty big announcement coming this week, which I will be excited to share. I believe it's going to be rolled out on Thursday, of what this my next role, especially upcoming presidential elections. And of course, we have an administration right now, which is failing miserably, especially at protecting women, outside of just sports, protecting women as a whole. And so I think um, upholding that with this next administration is crucial. And so there will be an announcement Thursday on what that kind of looks like. Two, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, talking about this, getting in front of people, putting myself in a position where people can't ignore us anymore. And I say us because, again, I'm speaking for so many, and not just present female athletes. What about the athletes who fought for Title IX? I'm speaking for them. What about that next generation who doesn't yet have a voice or doesn't yet understand the implications of what this means for them and their opportunities? I'm speaking for them. And so continuing to get in front of college campuses and expressing this, we've seen institutions and universities um, go in a direction where they're not encouraging open dialogue. They're not encouraging considering new perspectives. And so I'm going to put myself in those positions where I allow this for students. I think it's really important. Again, state legislature, there's 22 states thus far that have passed some sort of fairness in women's sports bill, but we need more. We need the majority of states in this country to have passed this. And so next cycle, I will be doing just that. And I think, unfortunately, at that point, we'll have more stories and more cases to prove why it's necessary.
Well, thank you for fighting the good fight for women and just for the love of sports and what it means to everybody, both male and female. We appreciate all that you do, and we also appreciate your time. And we can't wait to hear what's going on Thursday. Every fiber of my journalistic being wants to know now, but I'll let you wait till Thursday for the big announcement. Riley Gaines, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.